Right, where are we? Where's my coffee? Need a coffee. Early morning recording. Coffee is required. Right, let's go. Well, hello again, guys. Welcome back once again to the Mirror Army podcast. I can't believe it's Tuesday already. Freaking weekend went by so bloody quickly, so it did. But we're back. This week I don't have Monster, I have my coffee. I'm on my second coffee this morning. Needed after very little sleep last night. This is whenever Lewis just convinces you to stay up late last night watching WWE wrestling. Monday Night Raw on Netflix, which I could have watched this morning, but I stayed up with Lewis. So I'm going on about 4 hours, maybe 4.5 hours sleep and coffee. So bear with me. But I'll be more awake before the end of the episode, no doubt. Anyway, happy Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time of the day it is you're listening to this, or whatever day it is you're listening to this podcast. Hello. Welcome back once again. I can't believe this is the second week we're back already. You haven't checked out last week's episodes, guys, go and check them out. We came back on the air last Tuesday, and we were also back last Thursday. Thank you for all your downloads and streams and stuff like that on Spotify and Apple Music. If you haven't listened to us on YouTube as well, you can go and check us out on there as well, the Mirror Army Podcast YouTube channel. If you're listening to us on there now, guys, we'd appreciate if you drop a wee subscribe on there. But yeah, thanks guys for all the streams last week. I was just checking the wee stats there this morning before I come on. Spotify's doing well as always, so thank you very much for that. You gotta give me my due here this morning, guys. I just need to give myself a bit of a shake. Should have had a cold shower before I come on the air. It would have woke me up. But yeah, guys, thank you for all your support from last week's podcast, especially last Thursday's podcast. I've had a few years in at me talking about last week's podcast where I shared my story with mental health awareness and stuff like that. If you haven't listened to it yet, you can go and check it out on Spotify and Apple Music or wherever it is you're listening to this podcast on. But yeah, thanks very much for the support. Do appreciate it. Sorry, I just need another bit of coffee here just to keep me going. I'll just set this on the wee table here while I'm talking to you more. But yeah, you want to go and check them out, guys, or the episodes from last week. I will appreciate it, as it has got a bit of a good response. But before going any further into the podcast today and have a chat with you and stuff and talk about some things that I want to talk about on the podcast today, and obviously answer some of your questions as well later on in the episode. If you want to get in touch with us here at the Mirror Army Podcast, you can do it every week as always by the following methods. You can contact us on the Mirror Army YouTube channel Facebook page. You can drop us a private mail on there, or you can comment on the post promoting the podcast. Just search up Mirror Army YouTube channel on Facebook. Drop a like on there, guys. Would appreciate it. You can contact me directly on Instagram, which is official Matthew Moore on Instagram. You can contact us by email, which is mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. Also, you can go on to the Mirror Army website, get all your merchandise and more. Check out all the vlogs. It's like the Mirror Army hub, mirrorarmy.co.uk. So yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, guys, I really would appreciate it. Any of your questions or anything you want to hear me talk about on the podcast, you can do that there as well. Go ahead and check out some of our good friends and partners of the Mirror Army. FTBL Spot, the football supplier for retro football kits, football boots, for mystery shirt in the box and more. FTBL Spot .shop. You can go and check out their website, check out their social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram. If you're listening to us here on YouTube, check out the links for the description of the video here right now. They are good friends of ours. If you want to go and check them out, they are very, very good. And if you get to the checkout after purchasing items with them, put in the promo code Mirror Army to get some great discounts on some of their great items. It's, some good stuff there. If you haven't saw the promo video we put out on our YouTube channel a few weeks ago on our social media platforms, as a wee thank you for signing up, they sent us some great gifts. They sent me a lovely football shirt. They sent Lewis a pair of Adidas Predator boots, which he's over the moon with, by the way. So we have TBL Spot, guys. Search them up. Give them a bit of support. Good local or good new business in relation to football. So you want to go and check them out. ftblspot.shop. Anyway, what have I got to talk about today? Well, what a weekend that I had. What a freaking fucking weekend. It was Tony's birthday at the weekend. Tony turned 36. He's not a puppy anymore. I keep winding him up saying, Tony, you only got 4 years to go to your 40. And he's looking at me going, oh no, Tony, stop bullshitting me, you're nearly 40. We're going to talk about that later as well. We'll talk about that in just a wee second. But a couple of subjects I want to talk about on the podcast today. A lot of you have been getting in touch with me this morning in relation to all the incidents going over here in Northern Ireland in relation to what's going on down in Ballymena. It's all over the news everywhere in the UK this morning. We're going to talk about that briefly. We're going to be talking about the LA riots. Some of you have been asking me my views on that over the weekend. What else have we got down here this morning? Oh yes, electric cars apparently are getting cheaper and more friendlier to have. Well, so to say, right? But whether they are or not, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of electric cars, to be honest. Also, our little friend, Mrs. Remember that little whiny wee fucking activist we used to talk about on the podcast about a year or two ago, Greta Thunberg? She's in the news today. What a fucking story this is to talk about. This little girl's an absolute pain in my ass. Yeah, we're going to talk about her as well. She is being an absolute pain in the ass at the minute. She's all over the news at the minute. Going on about we'll talk about it shortly, guys, basically. And then obviously I want to get into some of your questions as well. But that's just some of the things I want to talk about today, because somebody's been contacting me even this morning when I woke up, especially people from here in Northern Ireland, wanting my views on what's going on down in Ballymena last night in relation to what happened to two young girls, which I want to talk about in just a few minutes' time. But what have I been up to since the last time I spoke to you as well? What was I doing? Last Thursday night, after I spoke to you, I had a few beers on the Thursday night, chilled out, had a bit of fun with Tony and sort of chilled out a little bit. And then on Friday, didn't do very much, to be quite honest. Then Saturday, I went for a night out to Belfast with Tony for his birthday, which was a fun evening. Myself, him and his friend Kenny went to Belfast for a night out for my brother's 36th birthday. I know my wee bro's getting old now. Saying that darn, I'm getting fucking old too myself. But we had a great night in Belfast. And first, before going into it, actually, I want to say thank you to everybody who came up to us in the bars, also in the street afterwards. Come up, wanted a picture, wanted to say hello, said to watch the videos. One or two, met these two guys. Where did I meet them? I can't remember where I met them. They said they were listening to the podcast now. They're glad to see the podcast back. But yeah, guys, everybody who came up to me last Saturday night, and Tony, and said hello and wanted a picture and said, they enjoyed the videos and stuff like that. Guys, it means a lot. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. I always say that, always appreciate all your support. So it was nice to meet a lot of you. But our night itself was was fun. We ended up come off the train, went to this new bar they have inside a train station. I know, a bar inside a fucking train station. It was actually the guy who my counsellor, the guys I go to counselling every week. And my counsellor actually told me about this. My favourite beer at the minute I drink is from Brewdog. It's just called Brewdog Cool Beer. None of this weird stuff that they had before. It's just basically cool beer, it's called, and it's absolutely amazing, especially when it's freezing cold. So went into they actually, Brewdog have their own bar here in Northern Ireland inside the new Grand Central Station in Belfast. So I thought, right, Tony and Kenny will have to try this place before we hit the town. So off we got, off the train, up the electric stairs and straight in. I'll tell you what, it was actually quite a nice wee spot. Had a wee drink in there and stuff to start off with, and then we were around to this little disco place thing, which is around near the Europa Hotel, which turned out to be quite interesting, should we say. Ran into some interesting characters in there. Tony was talking to some guy from, I don't know what country he was from. Tony was talking away to him all night, and I was actually outside with Tony at one point getting some air, and I ran into for long time old friends of mine I haven't seen in years. Known these guys since about 2006 I've known these guys from. Michael and Kelly, who were friends of ours. Well, I was married at the time, but I'm still friends with both of them to this day. They were staying up there for Kelly, Michael's wife's birthday for the weekend. And I ran into them too. I was chatting away, having to catch up with them. And I haven't seen those guys for a long time, and it was so good to see them. And we were all standing laughing how old we all are now compared to what we used to be in our 20s. And, we're now old. We're not young anymore, we're old. We're catching up with that and talking about our kids, because they have a daughter who's a year older than my daughter, and her name's Brooke as well. And I was saying to him, I still have the DVD footage of my Brooke's first birthday party, where your Brooke was there pushing around in a wee car thing when she was like 2, and now they're like 21 and 20. It's fucking scary how quickly your kids grow up. And then their son was also in the same class as my Lewis in primary school. And we were talking about that and how they're leaving school and all now too as well. And they're just like, where does the time go, Matthew? And I'm like, I got a fucking clue. Time goes by so bloody quick. But no, it was great to see those people. But no, it was a great crack. It was an older crowd, and it was good fun, and it was nice. And then I ran into a couple of other people in there who knew me as well from YouTube. And then we left there. Where did we go to after there? Oh yes, we went round was it Dublin Road we went round to, where we saw a really cool lowrider car. Yeah, a lowrider in Northern Ireland. This like bright pinky sort of like flame coloured fucking car. It was amazing. The hydraulics and all was bouncing up and down, and Tony was loving it. And we ended up going from there round to, we couldn't get into some of the other bars because it was getting a little bit later, so we ended up getting a taxi across town to some other place. But this is the thing though, this is the thing I wanted to talk about today as well. This actually made me feel so fucking old. We went into this other place, and this was around about 1:30 in the morning. And then you're thinking to yourself, Matthew, you're in your 40s, you should have been fucking home by then. But listen, I'm getting used to this whole being on my own life again. My kids are all grew up now, and I'm out on my own now. It's weird. Tony wanted to have a big blowout. Tony doesn't really drink that much anymore. Obviously, he would have a beer now and again, but he doesn't drink that often. And, he went to this other club. So we're up in this other club, and we're heading to get in, went up the stairs, and it was like all different floors, if you know what I mean. And we're sort of walking around different floors and getting a drink and whatever else, and meeting people and saying hello, and we ran into a few different people and talking away and whatever else. And the next minute, we were walking past, I think it was the second or third floor up, and we're walking past, and I just seen this wee girl standing there against the wall on her phone. And I looked at her and I went, I know that wee girl's face, but I thought nothing of it, walked on. And then Tony turns around to me and goes, here, that's fucking Brooke's best friend, Grace. You've seen Grace in the vlogs over the years, like Brooke's birthday, and obviously when they were younger, and she popped up a couple of times over the years and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's fucking Brooke's friend. So we went over and saying hello to her and catching up with her and all. And like, I always used to consider Grace like a second daughter to me, because she was never away from here. But the point of the story is the fact that when you go out with your brother, your young brother, for a night out, and you run into your daughter's best friend, that makes you feel so fucking old. You're kind of like, oh shit, oh my God, my daughter's best friend's out here now. It's like, oh my God, what is going on here? My babies have just grew up so quick, and now they're best friends. Oh my God. She's probably going to text my daughter saying, I just saw your dad and such in Belfast. But no, it was great to see her. So it was. But it does make you feel old. It really does make you feel old when you run into your daughter's best mates and all, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I remember when you were like a wee tote. That's how you know you're getting old. And then we went from there on into another bar, a couple of bars after that, and then we obviously got food. But trying to get home was a fucking disaster. Trying to find some way of getting home was just an absolute disaster. Couldn't get a taxi anywhere. And at one point we were standing at City Hall, and here's the thing, like Tony done this a few times throughout the night, and that's just really annoys me to see in so many that's happening in Northern Ireland. So many homeless people on the streets now here in Northern Ireland compared to what there used to be. Now, obviously, there's always been a homeless situation here, but there's a lot more now in Northern Ireland compared to what there used to be. And Tony's the type of guy that would walk up to a homeless person now, obviously, if they're standing there and they're wiped off their face and drugs or things like that. But if they're genuinely homeless and struggling, Tony would go up and give them a few quid out of his pocket. And he'd done that 2 or 3 times the other night. But we're talking this one man outside City Hall, and this other guy who comes from some charity organisation was down sitting beside him, talking to him and trying to, keep him a bit of company and stuff like that, because apparently this charity, they go around Belfast at weekends at night time and all and try and see if the homeless are okay and make sure they have enough stuff to keep warm and provide them with food and stuff like that, which was great. But we ran into this one outside City Hall, and we're talking about him and stuff like that. And he comes from the same place in Belfast I come from. And we were having a long chat and stuff, and he was chatting away and saying what happened to him, how he lost his home and he lost his job, and he doesn't take drugs or nothing like that. There, everything just collapsed. He said his wife passed away, and when she passed away, his life just went from bad to worse. And it was so sad though, because the guy who was there from the charity was telling us all about him, and Tony gave him a couple of quid to get something, get a sandwich and stuff like that, and we were chatting away. But we went down there across the road to get a taxi. And here's the thing, like, in Belfast where we were was about 13, 14 miles away from home. And we went up to this guy in one of the local taxi services. Now, it wasn't one of them black taxis who charges an absolute bloody fucking arm and a leg, but it was just a normal taxi service. And we said to the guy, you free? Yep, I am. We're looking to go to Bangor. 70 quid. And I looked at him, here's me, £70 to go to Bangor. Are you taking I actually said to him, were you taking the fucking piss? He obviously assumed all these boys are pissed out of their skull, they'll pay whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now, Tony obviously had was a wee bit rightly, but I wasn't too bad. I was, grand. And I looked at him, here's me, 70 quid? I mean, are you taking the fucking piss? So we ended up leaving him and dandering round to his home depot, which is right round where we originally got off the train earlier on in the night, Grand Central Station. And we got a taxi within 5 minutes, and he charged us 30 quid. Taxi drivers were taking the fucking piss out of people in Belfast that night. So they were. And plus, where we were standing trying to get that taxi guy, what it cost us like 70 quid. There was a lot of people standing around. Must have came from some formal banquet, because they were all wearing like tuxedos and big flashy dresses and all. So these taxi drivers are thinking, they must have a bit of money. Let's take the piss out of them. But then they met me and Tony. Me and Tony were like, nah, I don't think so. Piss off on your bike. Don't think so. Sling your hook. But we finally got home. I'm going to tell you this now. We got home at 10 to 4 in the morning. I know, 10 to 4 in the morning. We came back here. Tony came back here because Tony had his car parked up here. Obviously, he didn't take his car home because obviously he can't. He came back here because he left some stuff here to pick up to take home with him. Obviously, he was still a wee bit drunk, but he picked up his few bits and bobs, including his house keys and stuff, and then he walked himself home. And then I went to bed. But I tell you what, it wasn't a bad night. It actually wasn't a bad night. It was fun. I mean, it wasn't completely plastered off my face and anything like that there. It was just nice to get out and see different things. But some of the things that I seen nowadays in bars and things like that compared to what it used to be like, I'm not just saying it because I'm a lot older than what younger ones are now, but some of the characters that I saw in the bar were just like fucking baffling, brain, and even walking around the town as well, and seeing all these, like I seen guys running around. I talked about this in the podcast before, people like dressing up as he, she's and whatever else. But some of the outfits I saw, it was like, fuck me, the world's going boogaloo, like, the world is going absolutely boogaloo. Some of the things that I saw, it was like, fuck me, like, I've had to come in at like 20, 21 to my parents' house dressed like that, even though I was a grown man. My dad would have uppercut at me and told me to go and fucking sort myself out. But that's just the way the world is now. That's each to their own. Let them live like that. But we met some oddballs, but we met some lovely people. And again, guys, thank you to everybody who come up to me. the nicest guy we met was at the end of the night. Tony went to the McDonald's, so we were standing at McDonald's and we're actually standing talking to these two girls. I actually remember it well. One was a mechanical engineer, fair play to her, and the other one was a dentist. Yeah, and they've been friends since they were kids. And I can't remember, the two of them, I think they were in their 30s. They were in their late 30s. From what I remember, talking to them, and I was talking to the dentist, and Tony was talking to the mechanical engineer and asking her questions about different bits and bobs and stuff like that. And then they were talking about cars. And then I met this guy come up to me, and he actually sent me the photograph that he wanted to take him with us. And he was a lovely kid, and he came up and said hello, and we got pictures and all that. But that was the thing, guys. That's what made my night as well. People coming up to us and saying, hey, how you doing, guys? Come and get a picture. How you doing? Love the podcast, love the videos and all. It's things like that there. I think I mentioned that briefly on Tuesday's podcast last week, why I keep doing this. Because of things like that. I actually had a guy come up to me when I was outside with Tony getting some fresh air. He was walking past me with his two mates, and he came over and he said he loved the videos and stuff like that. And then he asked me how I was doing personally. He says, how's your mental health doing these days? Are you okay? I see you still go to your counselling every Thursday. I follow you on Instagram. If you ever need me, drop me a message. You ever want to talk, give me a shout. And I'm thinking to myself, what a nice guy. And he was genuine. He wasn't like taking the piss. I meet people all the time, and I speak to people all the time on social media who just started taking the fucking piss and think they're funny and just want to get attention because they're to be attention seekers. But this guy was genuine. You know what I mean? And he wasn't even drinking. He was sober. And he was such a nice guy. He said, if you ever want to drop me a message, you can anytime. My inbox is always open. And I thought, what a nice guy. And he was an older guy too as well. I thought, what a nice guy. So in closing about last Saturday night, it was a great night. We had fun. We didn't do a vlog, by the way, in case any of you are wondering. I think the only footage I actually got of the whole night was that fucking car that we saw, which I'll probably share on my channel today at some point. But we didn't do any vlog because I was talking to Tony before we went, and he goes, can we just have a night out without vlogging and stuff like that and just go out and enjoy ourselves? Obviously take a wee picture here and there or whatever. And I was like, well, if that's what you want, bro, no problem at all. And all of the ladies have been contacting me already saying, where's the vlog on Tony's birthday? We want to see you drunk and having fun like we normally do every year, but this year we didn't. So in case you're looking for a vlog, it's not going to happen. But overall, it was a great night, guys, and thank you to everybody who came up to us and said hello. It was actually a very, very, very good night. So it was. So anyway, moving on. My coffee's going freaking cold. I actually forgot all about it. Just give me a take another sip of coffee for the working man. That's better. God, it is getting cold. Oh, it's horrible. That's a wee bit of a caffeine kick for you. So anyway, after Saturday, spent most of Sunday doing bugger all, and then yesterday, obviously flat out yesterday. Excuse me 1 second, this coffee's making me choke. Honest to God, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Don't feel sick or nothing, just, when you get up in the mornings and you sort of have all that crap, you're trying to get out of your system, with all crap at the back of your throat, or you've got whatever. It's just one of those things. Anyway, moving on. But overall, it was a great weekend, guys. Had fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to another night out with Tony, hopefully very, very soon. Anyway, moving on into some of the wee subjects. Guys, a lot of you have been contacting me since the last podcast, and especially over the last 12 to 24 hours, especially the last 12 hours or so, especially people here in Northern Ireland. I will get my throat clear eventually. People are asking me what my view is of what's going on down in Ballymena. Guys, I talked about this last week. It's all to do with this immigration stuff. And I scrolled through briefly social media this morning. I was having my first coffee and having a wee quick night. Obviously, you don't believe everything you see on social media, because everything on social media 9 times out of 10 is a lot of bullshit. But what's going on down in Ballymena over the last week or so has been actually, in my opinion, absolutely disgusting. If it was my daughter that this happened to, let's just say that I would be going to fucking jail for to find these bastards for what they've done. In the space of a week or 10 days, whatever it's been, there has been 2 young girls at the age of 13, I think it's 13 and 14, or maybe 2 13-year-olds, have been raped in Ballymena by, well, for what I've been reading this morning, again, whether it's true or not, it's all over the news, all over the UK as well, this morning by these immigrant people, apparently. For what I saw last night, the people of Ballymena have got together to get these people put out. They've done peaceful protest, but then last night it obviously got a little bit out of hand, where people in Ballymena decided to try and put these foreign people out of the town or the city, whatever you want to call it. I've seen a few videos doing the rounds on social media where, you know, they were breaking windows and fighting with the police and stuff like that there. And, you know, I've been saying this for months. You know, the UK's letting all these fucking immigrants in illegally, and it's a majority of men. You know, and they're coming in, and all these incidents are happening. But incidents have happened even here where I live too as well, Northern Ireland. Not even just here in Northern Ireland, down south in the Republic of Ireland as well, and over in the mainland where all these gangs of men from different countries are coming in, and they're going mad. And I've been saying, I remember talking to Tony's friend Kenny about this the weekend. I mean, the people of the towns and cities are going to rebel against the police and against the government because they're letting all these illegal immigrants in. You know, and now these two young girls in Ballymena have been attacked. What do you expect from the Ballymena to respond? You know, these people are thinking, right, okay, our children and women are not safe anymore. And 90% of the people coming off these boats and whatever else are all men. They're not women, they're men. And they're coming into the country and they're causing all these issues and they're doing all these horrible things. And if you speak against them or go against them or whatever, then you're the worst in the world. And again, I've made this point clear so many times on this podcast that I am not a racist. Listen, I have worked with people from different countries. I actually have friends of people who are from different countries. You know, I worked with people for years from the likes of the Philippines and Spain and all this here, and they've come into this country and worked hard legally, paid their taxes, debt to society, whether they've been doctors or nurses or, you know, whatever else they do. They're just working hard and there's no problems. It's the ones that are coming in I have a problem with, who are illegals and dangers to our local community. And the way the government are still continuing to let them come in their thousands every week, is what pisses me off. And I've had a couple of messages when I spoke about this last week from people calling me a racist and calling me this. Listen, say whatever the hell you want, I don't care. Because I'm in the public eye, I can't have a say. I'm sorry, I don't think so. What I saw, from what I've seen in Ballymena over the last 24 hours, I've been calling this for weeks. I knew people were going to rebel against this because of what happened. Now they're fighting with police. I was even sitting upstairs last night when I was watching the wrestling with Lewis, and when I went on to a break, I was on my phone. I just happened to switch on TikTok, and there was a live stream of Belfast, people fighting with the police in Belfast over these illegal immigrants. You knew it was going to come. They're doing it down south. They're doing protests in Belfast. Whenever it gets to the point where young girls are being attacked, and women, it's going to get to the point where those peaceful protests are going to turn into not peaceful protests, where people are going to get to the point saying, right, enough is enough. This has to stop now. And a lot of people have been saying this morning on different social media pages that the government's let us down. They fucking have let us down. They're letting people into this country illegally every single damn day. And they're getting everything handed to them. Benefits, hotels to stay in, 3 meals a day, mobile phones, clothes, you name it, they're getting everything handed to them. But I was talking to my brother's friend about this on Saturday night, and I says, but if we were to go to their country, would they give us benefits in a house and all these expensive shoes and clothes and mobile phones and all? What the fuck? We'd be sent home. So we would. But again, I am not trying to be racist here. I'm just making a point because a lot of you have been contacting me about this. What's my view on it? I know for a fact that it's going to get worse before it gets better. You know, if nothing's done about this, and the start now, like for example, another subject I want to talk about today on the podcast is like illegal immigration in America. Donald Trump has sent in 2,000 troops to get rid of all these illegal immigrants, and it's caused a fucking riot in LA. Now I don't know the full ins and outs of it because I've read a wee bits and pieces about it. He sent in 2,000 and he sent in more. and it's all to do with certain race groups. People are saying it's being racist. It's not. He's trying to go in and get the mass immigration and get them all out, which he said he was going to do anyway whenever he took over as president. He said he was going to do that anyway. I need to read more into that, LA rats and stuff like that, and I might talk about it more briefly on Thursday. Probably not, I don't know. But the point is, if these illegal immigrants are coming into your country and they're putting your wife or your daughter or your son or your family at jeopardy, are you not going to protect your family from danger? Of course you fucking are. I would do the same. Hell, I have a 19-year-old daughter, almost 20-year-old. If I found out that some Muslim gang or whatever it is, or some gang from a foreign country was trying to attack my daughter, do you think I'm going to sit back and do fuck all about it? Am I by fuck? I'm sorry, but I'd be going to try and find that person who tried to attack my daughter, and I'd be confronting him, and I wouldn't give a shit what anybody said. But again, the people who come into this country legally and are contributing towards the country, like whether there be a doctor or a nurse or, I don't know, anybody who has a trade who comes in and legally here with their family and sets up home and works hard like everybody else, pays their taxes, I praise them. Because they're coming in here, they're moving into a different country, the unknown, setting up a better life for themselves, which is completely fine. But it's these ones that are coming in and not. I seen a video, was it 2 weeks ago, of a girl being followed back home in Dublin from two fellas from God knows where they were from, and she actually had to turn her camera on and film them and chase them away because they were following her home. You hear all these different stories of all these different places, but that one in Ballymena, 13 years of age, these 2 young girls have been attacked. And I don't blame the people of Ballymena coming out as a peaceful protest. But the fact is now, you knew it's going to get worse before it gets better. People are going to get to the point where they've had enough. Enough's enough. Either you put them out and send them back to their own country, or we're going to defend our country. And I've had a couple of messages this morning on Instagram saying it's weird knowing the fact that Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland, or Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, or even the Protestants and Catholics hated each other throughout the Troubles. They fought with each other. They hated each other and all that, and now they're standing together as one to protect the country because they want to get all these illegals out. And it's a good point, though, because at the end of the day, if you don't know the history of Northern Ireland, if you're listening to this podcast from abroad, I even grew up in it towards in the 80s and obviously the early 90s before it obviously came to the end and sort of came to the end, did it come to the end, really? The Troubles here in Northern Ireland between the Protestants and the Catholics for years, at war with each other. People died for years and years and years. Wars, with the British Army and the IRA and all the Troubles and stuff like that. All the military organisations, the whole works throughout the years. You go through the whole history of it all, but I'm not going to today. But I had a couple of messages today. I was reading through them this morning saying that they're actually both sides are coming together as one to unite to get rid of these mass immigration, which is interesting to see. I actually saw a couple of pictures of protests there a few weeks ago. People with a Union Jack flag and an Irish triangular flag standing together as one. People were standing together as one to fight for the country. But again, guys, you could go into this all day. You could go into all the different sides of it, the politics to it and all that there. But what happened in Ballymena, in my opinion, is fucking disgusting. And the people who done this, these young girls, should be jailed for life. And people say, oh, but they're rapists and all. They should be castrated and eliminated and all. Bring back the death sentence and all that. That's all I see online. Bring back the death penalty, Anybody who's a paedophile or anything like that sort of disgusting category, in my opinion, should have the death penalty. But that's my opinion. So what is? That's my opinion on it all. But again, what's going on in LA at the minute as well with the whole riots and stuff like that's going on, and they're all calling Donald Trump a racist because he's come bringing all these troops in. Listen, he's trying to run the country the way it should be run. God knows what's going on over in these countries where these people are fleeing from. There's obviously wars and all going on and stuff like that, and people are fleeing these countries. But then there's some of these countries, these men are trained killers. You know what I mean? It's the whole, in my opinion, the whole world's just completely fucked up at the minute. It really, really is. And this is why, again, I say this to my brother all the time, and I say this to mum and dad all the time. I don't bother with people anymore. And it's really sad, the fact that I just tend to keep myself to myself now. Yes, I do know a lot of people who have known as friends for years and stuff like that, but on my daily day-to-day operations in my life, guys, I just kind of keep myself to myself now. I don't bother with anybody anymore because every time you go out there into the world, sometimes you always seem to get sucked into some type of fucking drama. Okay, yes, you say, oh, you're on YouTube and all, and people obviously get involved in all because you're on YouTube. Listen, I make videos for fun. I've stated that many times. I make videos on YouTube for fun. It's good fun, and I enjoy making it because I love video editing. But in my general day-to-day life, say the days I'm not vlogging and stuff like that, I just keep myself to myself and just sort of try and stay away from drama and stuff like that now, because the more you get sucked into it now, the more fucking crap you get. So anyway, in closing about that there, the whole thing about Ballymena is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So it is, but I don't know. It's going to get worse before it gets better, guys, in my opinion. Moving on. I haven't talked about this wee brat for a long time. Now, I know obviously before we took a break off the podcast there for a year, we did talk about a lot about like the royal family and all these fucking crazy ones like the politicians and, you know, all these wee activists, and obviously had conversations about the Looney Tunes of Just Oil protesting and stuff like that. But we haven't talked about Greta Thunberg in a while, that little brat, that wee little Swedish brat who's so overprivileged. She was apparently recently been deported after she was on a boat and the boat was seized. Just a pro-Palestine activist. So she is, who was Gaza bound on a boat and it was seized by the Israel forces in the Mediterranean on Monday. This little girl just thinks she can do whatever the fuck she wants, and she's now being deported, and she's put video. But this is the thing though, even though she's been deported, no, she's still posting videos on social media and rambling on as the way she does. No, that wee girl is just a pain in my ass. I haven't seen her on TV for a while, or I haven't seen her about in social media for a while, and I just happened to see it there last night, and I thought, oh my God almighty, Greta Thunberg, that wee girl is just a pain in the ass. She's one of those little weird, fucking wokey, creepy, fucking oil protester, fucking oddball, crazy, I don't know why the hell to describe that wee girl. But she's been deported and she's on social media crying about it. Oh, I get deported, all that. Put a sock in your mouth, love, and way and hide under the rock you came from. Honest to God, she's an absolute frigging disaster, so she is. And honestly, if she was my daughter, she would do my bloody head, and so she would. One final thing I want to go into before some of your questions today. A lot of you do ask me about electric cars and stuff, and we've talked about different things like that there, but I've seen a wee thing there saying about electric cars. Apparently now, I've had emails from people all the time saying they hate electric cars, they love electric cars. It's always the little fucking certain type of people that drive electric cars, but apparently now they're becoming cheaper and more sleek. According to China, apparently they're going to be making all these new cars coming out soon that are going to be a lot cheaper, and eventually they're saying by 2050 all the petrol and diesel cars will be off the road, which I can't see happening, to be quite honest with you. Personally, I think, okay, electric cars can save you a bit of money and stuff like that, and they're more, well, so they say they're good for the environment though. What I personally like about them is you can't fucking hear them coming, especially when you're crossing the road. They just come out of nowhere and you can't hear them coming. I personally can't stand them that way. But from what I've been reading this morning, and one or two years have brought it to my attention that apparently electric cars are becoming cheaper. Because they are quite expensive though, aren't they? They are really expensive, those cars. I mean, there's two or three where I live in my area, and it's just like, I'm not a big fan of it. And one of Lewis's friends' mum drives an electric car. And I'm thinking to myself, is it actually really cheaper to run, or is it more expensive because you're paying for electric on it? I don't know. Me personally, I'm not a fan of it. But apparently they're becoming cheaper. So anybody there who likes electric cars, in the next, I don't know how long it's going to be, they're going to be apparently becoming more cheaper. So there you go. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Not that a lot of these probably don't give a shit, like, but it's just people bring these subjects to my attention, and I go, okay, fair enough. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into some of your questions for the podcast this week, guys, which I do obviously appreciate you send them to me. I'll start off today with, let's have a look here, Instagram. What I'll do is I'll do 2 or 3 from Instagram, which is probably the more popular platform you contact me on. I'll do 1 or 2 on Facebook, and then I'll maybe read an email or 2 out, and then I'll call it a day, because I've got a very busy day today, and I want to obviously try and get this podcast wrapped up as quick as possible, because I want to be heading out here shortly today. But anyway, I'll go into a couple of your questions here from Instagram to start off with. Let's have a look here and see. Right, let's have a look. Oh, right, here we go. James147, is it O? On Instagram says, what is your favourite Fortnite season? James, I don't play Fortnite. And that's being totally honest with you. Lewis plays Fortnite. I tried it years ago. Didn't like it. Haven't liked it. I've walked into Lewis's room a couple of times when he's on his PC playing it. And I'm going to Lewis, what's this? And I've played games since I was a kid. And I still play my PS5 now and again. But that, no, not for me. Don't play it. Sorry, James. Ask, contact Lewis on Instagram. He may tell you better. Okay, here's one here from, is it Modest6789F, says, who's been the best media person you have ever seen or worked with in the Irish League, in your opinion? The best media person who I've seen or worked with? Well, I met probably one of the best commentators in Irish League history, which is Jackie Fulton. I met him in Ballymena twice. Lovely guy. I used to work at a local radio with the guy who is probably one of the voices of the BBC Northern Ireland Sport Now. He's on the radio Ulster every Saturday, and he does Northern Ireland commentary games on the likes of, I think he's done Vice Sport, he's done TNT Sport, he's done Sky Sports as well. Michael Clark, I've known Michael, God, a long time. Michael and I used to work in the local radio community station together. We used to do radio shows together back in the day, before Michael even went to work for the BBC, the beloved BBC. I know. You're just saying about Irish League football. So I've worked with Michael. Different people over the years, players and ex-players. Obviously, he was an ex-manager, but he's now more of a commentator and a journalist, Davy Jeffrey. But Jackie Fulton, obviously, is the long-serving commentator from the Irish League right back in the day, even before I was born on this planet. Jackie Fulton was a lovely man when I met him twice that time in Ballymena years ago when I was with the Welders in the County Dockland Shield one Tuesday night when we were down there. And I went over and shook his hand. I actually met him when I was a wee boy. He gave me his autograph, which I still have in a box to this day, when he was working for UTV at the time. Back at as a woman to test your memory, the 1990 Gold Cup final, Portadown and Linfield at the Oval. That was 35 years ago. So there you go. It's a long time ago. But yeah, I've met so many over the years. So it would be. Here's one here from William_Monty, says, if you were supporting any Irish League team, who would it be and why? Right, William, here's the story. People ask me this all the time, even when I worked in the Irish League, who do you support? Why do you follow this team? There's going to be a lot of people on here who don't like what I have to say here, but I'm going to say it anyway. When I was a wee boy growing up in Belfast, my dad used to take me to all the Linfield games when I was a wee boy, so obviously I was a Linfield supporter growing up. Then when I got involved working for football, I started working for a local team, Bangor, which was obviously the town that I lived in. I worked with them for 7 years, and then I went to the Hardenwood Welders in East Belfast. So if I was supporting an Irish League team, obviously I grew up supporting Linfield as a young boy, but again, I'm in the position now after working in the Irish League for so many years that I just love going to watch Irish League football in general. So I just love going to the Irish League games in general and just watching games. So I do, so. But yeah, thank you for your question. Let's have another look here and see. So many who's replied to my story on. Here's one here, which is interesting. _Philip W1 says, if the opportunity to fight came around, would you take part in the influencer boxing? Thanks. Influencer boxing. That would be fun. As you probably know, I've done a lot of physical sports over the years. More so professional wrestling. I've done that for years too, which took a bit of a toll on your body. But yeah, I think it'd be fun. I would do it. I would do it for a bit of fun. How I would do, I don't know. But yeah, Philip, I think it'd be fun. I actually would do it. Right, let's have another one here and see before I go. Right here, one here from C Dart 481 says, when is Flyby going to be flying again? I can't see it. I don't know. And I don't think Flyby's coming back. Flyby's been out of business for a while now. C Dart 481, I don't know. Let's have one more look here before I go. Have you any trips planned for football or wrestling from Aaron Haley 7? I think I did say this last week. Yes, I am going to London and Glasgow in the summer. Hoping to get another couple of wee trips in between there as well. What I'm planning on doing over the summer as well, guys. This is probably a first. I think she said this on the podcast. I'm going to be doing a bit of travelling around this country, Northern Ireland, during the summer. We're going to be doing day trips here, day trips there. I'm going to be taking the vlogs on the road and going to different wee places just to sort of open the channel up a bit more, because obviously Burke and Lewis are not in the vlogs as much anymore, so I've decided I'm going to try and get myself out there more and be more out there now, and I'm going to be taking the channel on tour. We're going to be going around all the different parts of this country and seeing wee different places and stuff like that, because I want to get out more now and live life more now, because obviously my days of running after kiddies and all now are long overdue and they're long gone. So, yep. But apart from that, I'm going to Glasgow and London in the summer. So, as I think I said that last week, the vlogs are going to be really good over there. Trust me, I'm going to make really good vlogs while I'm over there. I want to make a point to make good vlogs. Anyway, let's get into the Facebook page here. If you're on Facebook, guys, you want to check us out, go and check it out. It's Moore Army YouTube channel on Facebook. Right here, let's have a look and see. I've one here from Mervyn. Mervyn on Facebook, on the private messenger on Facebook, says, hey Matthew, I know you obviously have your political views on your podcast, but what would you do if Nigel Farage became Prime Minister of the UK? Do you think he would do a good job? Just give us your honest opinion. Keep up the good work on the podcast. Would he do a good job? Politicians always bullshit. Whether they're going to tell the truth or not, I don't know. I hope he does a good job. I hope he does what he said he's going to do. Because if he does, he needs to fix the country, because the country's falling to fucking bits. Would he do a good job? Hopefully. I don't know. Maybe not. Just have to wait and see. But thank you for your question. I do appreciate it. Right, I'll do one more on Facebook and then I'll jump over to the emails. Let's have a look here and see. There's only a handful here today, which is quite surprising, because Maureen's normally send me a lot more than normal. Right here from Katie on Facebook. Katie on Facebook, where's she from? Guys, I keep saying these, put on the bottom of your messages where you're from, so I can say where you're from as well. Katie says, hey Matthew, have you any concerts planned for the rest of the year? I've just been to see Take That in Glasgow and thought they were absolutely insane. Well, obviously you're from Scotland probably, because you've been to see Take That in Glasgow. I seen you were at Take That last year with your daughter. Are you a big Take That fan? Thanks, Katie. Well, Katie, I am a big Take That fan. You're probably laughing to tell you that, but a lot of people probably will laugh. But yeah, I went and seen them last year. Concerts this year so far, no. The last thing I was at to see was Kevin Hart a few weeks ago. And then I was obviously at the PDC Darts, which was a night out in Belfast. But concert-wise, at the minute, no. I don't have any concerts. But I have shows to go to, but not concerts. I'm taking Lewis to Glasgow and London to watch wrestling. I know. And obviously a bit of a holiday break as well. But no concerts booked at all, Katie. So not at the minute, unless something pops up at the last minute. But at the minute, no, nothing. So thank you for your question. I appreciate it. Right. Let's get into some of your emails here. There's one I actually highlighted here at the top of my emails, which is quite an interesting question. Well, more advice than questions. It does go on a little bit, but I'm going to read it to you anyway, guys, because it is an interesting one, and I know obviously how I would deal with this situation if it was me personally, but I'll read it anyway. This one here is from Jane, and it says, hi Matthew, great to see the podcast is back. I have a question on parenting, and I hope you might be able to help me, give me some advice, as I'm at my wit's end with my youngest son's behaviour. He was a great child, but since he went on to secondary school, a change came over him, and I don't know what to do. He chose to go to a grammar school after he finished primary 7, which I was very against, but he got his grades and it was his choice at the end of the day. And now he's going to be there for 2 years and has become, since then, one of these lefty woke snowflakes. It started off with the odd wee comment here and there, but then I caught him religiously watching the BBC a few times, which I don't allow in this house for obvious reasons. But now it's ramped up and I feel like I can't even open my mouth in my own home without being called a racist, homophobic, etc. Last week I heard from another mum at his school who's going through the same thing as me with her son, that my son joined the climate change committee. When did school start doing this? Where are we? Climate change committee, yeah. And he knows how I feel about that. I obviously pulled him out of the club straight away, but I'm considering pulling him out of the school altogether and sending him somewhere else in September, if the nonsense keeps up. All his friends seem to be the same. How would you deal with this, and how would you deal with this, and how have you raised your kids to have such good values? My other two have their heads screwed on and are fine, but they don't go to a grammar school, so I'm convinced it's the school that is the problem. I can't believe things have gone this far, and I'm worried he'll continue this way if he gets older. From one single parent to another, any advice is so much appreciated, and thank you for your help. Keep up the good work. Jade. Do you want my honest opinion, Jade? I would be taking his ass out of that school. So it would be climate change, like a club for climate change in school. And all of a sudden, since he started going to... Listen, here's the thing, right? And I'm going to be... This is from my experience, right? I find that grammar schools are actually worse than standard schools. Now, people might think, oh, but you're just being a far-right extremist and blah, 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 blah. Look, listen, if my two kids come in here and started becoming a lefty woke snowflake, they'd be told straight to wind their neck in. So there would be... And if the school... There is some schools, grammar schools especially, pushing this narrative of being lefty and woke, especially because I know a few school teachers who have worked in grammar schools and have actually left grammar schools and went to normal schools because they feel that working in grammar schools are so much harder and difficult to work in because of the type of people who they're dealing with, i.e. parents, the children, their upbringings, excuse me again. But again, I find in my experience dealing with grammar schools over the years, like when I used to work in the public eye and go on to a normal school compared to a grammar school, if it was me personally, my son or daughter was going to a grammar school and this was happening and we're feeding them all this fucking wokey nonsense crap and come in and call me a homophobe and call me this and that, their ass would be severely spoken to and told, listen, that stops right now. That bullshit stops right now. All this woke crap you see on the internet. First thing I would do is, if he was in first 2 years of secondary school, which is maybe 13, 14 years of age, number one, mobile phones would be confiscated off him right away, so you wouldn't see all that woke crap you see on the likes of TikTok and Instagram and all that shit. Second of all, I'd be going to the school and speaking to the school and saying, right, what crap are you feeding into my son's head? My son came to the school absolutely fine, normal little fella or daughter, whatever it is at the time, whatever your child is, and now all of a sudden they're coming in talking about fucking homophobic and woke shite and wanting to watch the BBC all day and all this crap. I'm sorry, what the fuck is going on? I'd be having a severe word with the child and obviously speaking to the school. Now, if you've said you've experienced other parents coming to you and saying they're experiencing the same problems, then I would be saying to the other parents, whether it be another 1 or 2 or 3 parents, to get together, the lot of you, and go to the school and speak to the school directly and say, right, what is going on here? How come our boys or girls, whatever, is coming into us now and speaking all this woke crap that you're feeding our kids every day? Personally, at the minute, I see schools, not just in the UK, all over the world, this fucking LGBTQ crap, fucking all these morals they're forcing on the young children, which is absolutely fucking disgusting. I'm sorry for having to swear a bit here, but it's disgusting. And then no wonder kids are confused, and you wonder why kids are coming and not knowing how to identify as anything because of all this bullshit that they see in the world at the minute, whether it be on TikTok or the internet in general social media like Facebook, Instagram. And then when they're going into school, there's like, oh yeah, you can be whatever gender you want to be and blah, blah, blah. Look, listen, in this world, I'm sorry, and I don't give a shit what anybody says, two genders only, end of. You may dress like a woman, you may dress like a man, you may think you're this and that. Listen, you're born with certain chromosomes, you're a man or you're a woman, end of. This pumping all this snowflake crap into young people's heads is a day. They don't seem to understand the jeopardy and the danger and how they're messing up the future generation of this world. Now, my two kids, I'm thankful, touch wood, my two kids have grew up correctly because I've taught them proper morals and taught them right from wrong. You know what I mean? And then they come in and go, oh, but Daddy, you can't say this and you can't say that because you're a racist or you're a homophobe in your own home. So your child now is expecting the parent to tippy-toe around and walk on eggshells. And if not, it doesn't fit into a certain criteria, then you get categorised into a homophobic or genderphobic or whatever, all these fucking phobias they have out there now and all these. Look, listen, the bottom line is if that was my son or daughter, they'd be sat down and said, right, listen, you're not going back to that school no more. I've spoke to the other parents. Not that you have to explain yourself to them. You're the ones in charge. You're the boss. You're the parent, not the child. And this is the thing as well which really annoys me these days. There's a lot of kids out there nowadays. Now, not them all. Majority of kids out there nowadays are good kids. But there's a handful of kids out there now who go around thinking they own their parents. They are the bosses of their parents, not the other way around. And this is one thing I learned as a dad when I first became a father back in 2005. And I was told this by a lot of people who brought up children beforehand and brought up good children, good, honest, hard-working children. From day one, you have to teach your child from day one that you're the boss, not the other way around. And I even remember whenever my wife was pregnant at the time and the midwife had come out to check, at home and check the heartbeat of the baby and check her and make sure she's fine and all that there. And I remember her turn around. It was 2 days beforehand I said to my wife, look, listen, when this child comes along, we'll have to obviously get the child into a routine when it comes to like feeding and sleeping and, obviously teach the child right from wrong and obviously, make sure the child understands that we're the bosses, we're the parent and we're the one in charge, not the other way around. And I remember the midwife even telling that to my ex-wife at the time, you need to make sure from day one that you're the boss of this child, not the other way around. Because she sees a lot of children now going around and literally telling their parents what to do, be the boss of their parents. I think it's bullshit. Okay, I've got children now who's nearly 20 and Lewis is 16. Okay, at the minute with Brooke, I don't say anything to her anymore because she's a grown adult. But when it comes to Lewis, he's still only 16. I would say to him, Lewis, you still can't do this and you can't do that. When he turns 18, that's a different story. But the bottom line is, if he still lives under my house and it still abides by my rules, and if he doesn't like my rules in my house and doesn't abide by them and doesn't agree with them, because he's an adult now, he can then go and find somewhere else to live. That's what I was taught when I was told when I left school at 16, get a job or get out. Go and figure yourself out in the world. But get back to your question, the subject at hand here on this question. The schools at the moment, not all kids are like it, but some of the schools that I see, all this pushing this ideology crap onto them about, gender and all this snowflake fucking bullshit that really grinds my gears. And I feel sorry for the next generation of kids. And unless this stops now, it's going to get worse. And people keep thinking, oh, but you're homophobic and all, and blah, blah, blah. Listen, think what you want. I'm just speaking out as a parent here right now. And if that was my child coming in and telling me how I can and can't speak in my own house, that child would be told and spoken to. And if it got nasty with me, it'd be grounded and have its things taken off it. And it'd be told, look, listen, this is the way the world is, not what that fucking stupid school saying. And if it was me with another parent are telling you the same thing, they're having the problems, I'd be getting together with the other parents and saying, right, let's go and speak to the school. Let's find out what the hell's going on. And if they are pushing all this crap onto your kids, then you have a right as a parent to turn around and say, excuse me, I don't think so. I don't want my child to learn about this crap. My kid's here to have an education, not to be fed a load of shit about woke and fucking all this crap that you're feeding out there now. Because nowadays it's like you can't say the wrong thing now. You can't do the right thing. Oh, you're this, you're that. You're categorised quite easily. But I hope, Jane, from reading your email, which obviously you seem very sincere, and obviously I hope you might get the problem sorted out. Because at the end of the day, Man, you said he was P7, so 2 years. What's that, second form? So he's what, maybe 13, 14? It's an awkward age as well. And you do say you have two other kids as well, which are grand. But if it was me, I would be speaking to the child and saying, right, look, I will say what I want in my house. Obviously, you set an example to your children. You know, you don't run around doing certain things and saying certain things because obviously you're trying to set an example for the child in the house and, you know, different things like that. But when it comes to the child judging you in your own home for what you do and say, that's a no-no for me. I'd be told, the child would be sat down and not nastily or anything like that, or just told, look, listen, this is my house. I'm the boss. And if you don't like what I have to say, tough. You know, I'm the parent. You're the child. You will do what you're told. And this crap they're feeding you in school, I'm dealing with this problem now. And then I would go to the school and speak to them and tell them, enough's enough. But the fact that you're not the only parent who's getting this problem, that doesn't look good for the school. I would be personally going with the other parents to speak to the school and see what the problem is. And the fact that he's watching BBC all the time, oh my God, no, that would drive me up the bloody walls. Oh my God, that TV would be thrown out the window. I'd be just like, what are you watching that all the time for? And this is the problem nowadays. See, since COVID, people are just constantly watching the news now and craving for something else. Especially all these COVID freaks, they're waiting for another scamdemic to happen. You know, they're all sitting there going, oh my God, there's another thing coming up. The winter's coming up. Is there going to be another pandemic? We'll get to stay at home again, put our masks on, and no. So in closing, Jade, honestly, let me know how you get on, but I would be speaking to the school and speaking with other parents to go and speak to the school and say, right, listen, what is going on here? My personal experience with grammar schools has been a nightmare. I can give you an example, and I'm not trying to tarnish people with brushes or trying to judge people. Not all grammar kids are the same, which they're not. But my experience, for example, when I worked for Translink years ago, during afternoon times with the school kids, and obviously teenagers and all that there cause problems and issues and baby shit bags and all. But about 80 to 90% of the problems we used to have with school kids always came from the grammar schools, not the secondary schools. And I remember having conversations with grammar kids over the years going, do you know my father knows this one? And do you know my father and my mother is rich? And they know that. Listen, you're a school child like everybody else. You get treated the same as everybody else. And if you don't like it, then toddle off back home to your fucking mansion and tell your wee mummy and daddy who know doctor or policeman, whatever, that you were treated the same as everybody else today. And you say about your son getting his grades and all, fair play to him. Well done on getting his really good grades as well. That's another thing I wanted to say as well. Fair play to me. Obviously sounds like a hard worker, but never let a child rule the roost. Never let a child rule the roost. God, I would have never ruled the roost in my day. Fuck, my dad would have kicked my ass in the day. That was back in the day when you could kick your kids up the ass or hit them a slap. I was hit with wooden spoons and chased with slippers, and my dad just give me a certain look and I fucking crap myself. Nowadays, there's not all kids, but some kids out there nowadays just look at you and go, what are you going to fucking do? But it always starts from the home, you see. Never let your child rule the roost. But Jade, thank you for your question. I do appreciate it. Let me know how you get on. And thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. Right, guys, I'm going to go here now. I know obviously it's every day more, but I'm going to go because I've been speaking for over an hour here and I'm obviously rambling on quite a bit. I did ask you last Thursday about Jackass of the Week. Should I bring back Jackass of the Week every Thursday? And you have come back and said yes. So this Thursday on the podcast, I'll be bringing back Jackass of the Week. So stay tuned for that. So if you want to give me your view on who should be Jackass of the Week, whether it be a celebrity or a sports person or somebody who you know in general, or a story you've heard somewhere or someone who you know or whatever it is, let me know. And I'll obviously get the best ones and put them together. We'll figure out who the Jackass of the Week every week is. So let me know how you get on with there. But anyway, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of today. Thank you for listening. As always, stay tuned. I've got another vlog coming up on the channel today. Coming out very, very soon. I think Lewis is going to be making an appearance today in the vlog. Very, very minimal now what he does. So yeah, stay tuned for the vlogs coming up this week as well. Before I go, guys, if you want to contact me, you know how to do it by now. Instagram, Facebook, the email, moorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. Don't forget to check out our good friends FTBL Spot as well for all your football needs, whether it be boots, mystery shirt in the box, classic shirts, and much, much more. FTLspot.shop. Check out their website. Promo code MoorArmy for all your discounts at the checkout as well. And also our website for your merchandise as well, moorarmy.co.uk. Right, until Thursday, guys, have a good week. Have a couple of days until I see you then. Don't forget, any subjects you want to hear me talk about in the podcast, any questions, I want to hear them right here on the podcast, because this is the Moor Army podcast for you guys to get your voice heard of what you want to hear here on the podcast. Right, until Thursday, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all soon, guys. Thanks for listening.